Thank you for tuning in and welcome to another episode of ManPower. I'm your host, Dr. Sausage, and I'm happy to be back with you again. I took a little time off because I got me a new dog and had to get my dog situation together, make sure they got nice housing, make sure they got everything that they need because they can't stay in the house with me. So today's show is called A Woman Cannot Create a Man. All right. This is inspired by the fact that Adam was put into a deep sleep and a rib was taken from him. And with that rib, God created woman. All right. So if woman come from man, how can woman create man? No, men do the creating, women do the carrying. And so that distinction needs to be made. That's the motivation behind this episode today. Okay. We're going to start out with talking about the way that the Father Jehovah intended for things to be. Okay. Men, he intended for us to be the head of household. Nowhere in there does he say for the woman to be in charge. He even has a line of succession with the males so that it can always be males in charge of males. All right. We have to stand up and realize that the most precious thing that we have in this world today is our children. Okay. Men, your children are worth more than your job. Your children are worth more than your car. Your children are worth more than your career. Your children are worth more than you, your very existence. You understand? So if they are that precious, if they are that valuable, don't you think that they should be in our hands for us to raise? All right. And that's why we have to come together and awake as a sleeping giant to realize that we are being robbed of our generational wealth. We are being robbed of our name. There are so many young men running around here whose father last name is Smith and their last name is Jones. Okay? We need to allow who that child belongs to be acknowledged, and that the child must wear the father's last name. You understand? We can no longer continue to have situations where a male child is born and it is left in the custody of a female. Because we will never have the society that we want to create if we're going to keep letting the females feminize the males. That's going to lead to our overthrow. All right? Men, we are the birth control. We are the birth control. And if we have control of our sons and our daughters for that matter, a lot of this teenage pregnancy, a lot of this things that's going on, it won't be happening today. Okay? We have to stand up, join forces, and say that we want men to have first right of fatherhood in this country. What does that mean? That means that in the event that a man and a woman separate, the male child automatically goes with the father. Okay? This makes no sense to have the women raising the males. Okay? And this is low-hanging fruit. We can fix this. Single mothers are the most narcissistic people in the world. They make themselves the center of the universe, surrounding herself with children. They have children now, and then she have her own little society of people all around her to worship her and look up to her. All right. This is also something you see them doing to put the woman on the pedestal, how they idolize Mother's Day and mothers all year long, trying to put forth a Herculean effort to overvalue one parent over the other. It's a smoke and mirrors thing, okay? They need men to stay asleep so that they can keep on ruining the family. If men wake up and say, you know what? I'm taking my children. I'm raising my children. If I can't raise my children, well, I'm not going to war. If I can't raise my children, I'm not getting up going to work. We're going to shut down in this country. We have to come to the point to say to the government, no, as men, we just going to sit down and not do anything if you think that you're going to continue to use us as ATM machines to try to act like we are not worthy of raising our sons and daughters, the most important thing in this world. But you will try to emphasize to us to build the country, to die for the country, to sacrifice for the country and all that. But then we're not good enough to have our sons. Foolishness. Now look, the Father Jehovah wants things to be done according to his will. And his will is for the father to be the head of the household. His will is for the father to beget his son. Okay? These people have worked overtime to try and create a world opposite of what the father has said he wanted. And it's up to you to decide whose law you're going to serve. Are you going to serve God's law or are you going to serve man's law? You can't serve both. You can't. They got homosexual marriage, okay? They got Title IX change. You understand me? So, I mean, what? What? Now that they forcing the schools to allow the boys into the girls' personal spaces? And there is nothing wrong with these young males. They just smart. So they're going to say, well, yeah, I'm a girl, just so they can go into the girls' facilities to watch them change, to watch them shower. Some of them won't be so bold as to go in there and shower with them. Foolishness. Foolishness. You know, and in the black community, out of wedlock birth rate is 78%. We can and have to do better. Okay? 78% of the babies being born are being born out of wedlock. You have to understand that the enemy has worked his plan so that he has marriage up against the ropes. That he actually has the birth rate up against the ropes. These people are dismantling every institution that the Father Jehovah has created with us and gave to us so that we can have a disciplined, well-rounded society. I want to touch on the NFL draft that just happened. I noticed that the majority of the ladies on the young men's side were of the opposite culture. And, you know, if the men were raising the girls and the girls were growing up and being successful and then they were marrying white men instead of marrying someone like her father, everybody would take a look and say, wow, she didn't go and marry somebody. She not proud of her daddy. She not, you know, something about her daddy. She went and got a man that's completely opposite of her daddy. But for some reason, we're not paying attention that all of these young men are getting a female that's the polar opposite of their mother. But the TV want to give the mother all this credit for being, how do they want to put it? She's timeless. She's thoughtless. She was working 3 jobs. She was up doing this. She was doing that. They're giving her all these accolades. Well, if that was so, why don't he have a young black lady sitting next to him waiting to get married? Why does he have something totally opposite of what he's been exposed to his whole life? Huh? Because he don't want that foolishness for himself. So You can try to spin it any kind of way you want to. Me, I have a lady that have the same type of temperament as my mother. I have a lady that my mother and sisters love because she got the same temperament as them. Okay? Why would I go out here and want a lady opposite of the lady that I grew up with in the home? It would be because I would be looking at her saying, there's no way. I don't know how people put up with that. And that's just all to it. And if any of these women ask these boys, well, why didn't you go and get a woman like me? You can be like, I don't want no woman with no 3-4 kids by 3-4 different men, talking loud, cussing, going all to the club, dressing all loose, got everything showing. They don't go and marry no people look like you or act like you, and the ones that do regret it. Look, if black men were raising the children, we would have much more successful families. We would have better people. We would have a better society. All right? There is no denying that we have tried to use the mother as the primary custodial parent. And as a result of that, we have a society that is ravaged with mental illness. We have a society that is overrun with crime and debauchery. And we could solve all of this, if we just turn the children over to the fathers. Let's start putting the emphasis on fathers being the primary custodial parent. Men, this is the civil rights issue of our time. Okay? I don't know how we have allowed this subject to go dormant this long. But we are in World War III. Y'all see what's happening. Okay? It is time, men, for us to establish fatherhood. This show is a show that's for men, about our issues. You notice, I don't come from how to fix the woman. I don't blame her. I talk to us about our neglected and rejected responsibility, how we have been lulled to sleep in our fatherhood parental roles through the might of the court, the criminal justice system, family court, the dirty ass judges, the attorney general, all of these things that have waged war on marriage and on the family unit and have worked since I was a kid, I know, to destroy the black man out of the family. And sister girls, we want you in this fight with us. We want you to take up the mantle and be like, he's right. And the boys need to be raised by their fathers. And in some cases, the girls too. Okay? And we need to start focusing on making fathers the primary custodial parent. Now, before I sign off, I want to give a special shout out to this young man, Brandon Jamal, with his song about single mom. That is a trip. I enjoyed that. Men, these are our seed. Okay? Be careful where you plant your seed. Make sure that the place you plant your seed is a place that you will be able to water your seed. When your seed turns into a plant, be careful that it is a place where you will still be able to nurture and grow your plant. When your plant becomes a tree, continue to nurture and feed that tree. Okay? A father's job is not over when they make 18. Don't believe that white supremacist bullshit. Oh, they're 18 years old. I can't tell them nothing. Now they got to make their own decision. No. They ain't never been 18 before. They ain't never been 19 before. They ain't never been 20. All these are new challenges, new things they're going to be facing. You have to be there. And not only do you have to be there, you have to be instrumental. What do I mean in being instrumental? Good question. My Benz was sitting over here for about 3-4 years now. I done replaced every part on the doggone car under the hood because I'm like, I can't figure this out. Spark plug, wire, spark plug, everything. I even had people telling me, well, gee, you might need to go and buy a new wiring harness. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, damn, maybe the computer going on the car. Damn, you know? So I'm not no quitter. I just parked the car and left it there for a minute. Needless to say, make a long story short, this old school mechanic come through. He let me know, and along what was is that my ignition switch was out and my key was no longer any good. And that's why my car wouldn't start. So I called Mercedes. Mercedes told me a place where my children had already called me and told me, look, Daddy, we can't have you not driving around, not having a car. So go and find a car and just call us back. But I didn't want another car because I like old school vehicles. So I called them back to let them know what was up with the car, right? And I'm just surmising, trying to run the story along quick. So the lady said that the total bill was $2,200. She needed $1,100 up front. My sons was like, okay, I'm about to send you $1,100 so you can give it to the lady. They wouldn't have been able to do that if I didn't understand that in their 20s, I need to be instrumental in making sure that they get money in their pocket. How do I do that? By building generational wealth, by starting business, growing that business, sharing that business with my children. This is what you have to do, okay? And then allow them to have the profits. You've already lived your life. You've already been there. Allow them to stand on your shoulders, okay? Don't just start the one business. After you got that business going, be creative and keep going. All right? We are doing things to feed the children that have not been born under us yet. Okay? And in the name of Jesus, thank you so much, Father. My youngest son called me the other day, and he was checking on some things to make sure that the family structure, the family order did operate in a certain manner. And I was so proud of him because he had it to the T, to where all I could do was say, amen. And then I chimed in to let him know, you know what I'm saying, that in the event that the sacrifice was needed to be made, I would be the one who would jump in that water and make the sacrifice. Why? Because I am the one who have already been here. Those are my seed. I'm going to make sure my seed turn into trees. And I'm going to make sure nobody cut my trees down. You feel me? Excuse me. So, you know, a man will instill structure and guidance and discipline in his sons to where they won't go out here and spill their seed in the common tramp and, you know, lose all their generational wealth. That's the benefit we'll have if we allow fathers. The first right of fatherhood, okay? Meaning when a male and a female split up, the male child must go with the father. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You know what I'm saying? And in the event that the man does not want to take the child, okay, then that's when we come up with the penalties and the punishments. And they should be harsh. And they should be harsh. We need to get society thinking on the scale of accomplish what you want to accomplish before you have children. Don't start having children and then talk about now I want to go to college. No, Jack, you should have went to college before you started having children. You don't wait till you start having children and then you want to go to college. We're not doing it like that. You know, it don't work that way. That dog just won't hunt. Okay, we have to get back to a society where the honorable thing is young men looking up to the older men and respecting what they have to say and looking to learn from them. Okay, artificial intelligence is coming, whether you like it or not. And if we don't start to build businesses in our families and start to gain some independence off the system, then when this artificial intelligence fully takes over, a lot of people are going to get caught short. And a lot of families are going to find themselves homeless and off and with nothing. Okay? If you understand where I'm coming from, then you understand that as a man, it's your responsibility to get land for your family to be on. It's your responsibility to make sure that you take care of your next generation. Okay? You take care of your next generation by securing the things that they would need to be able to live, so that when they come along, they don't have to try and secure these things. They can focus on the next step, whatever that may be. Instead of struggling to try and find employment, they will have employment because you have created generational wealth. You have created a business for them to run, okay? And you have land, so they don't have to go to the bank and ask for a loan because they have land. They can just start to build on it, okay? And each generation is improving, It don't make no sense to be here 3-4 generations and each generation is starting from zero. We cannot continue to do that. All right. You know, I want to shout out to Philip Scott, because I check you out all the time. You know, listen, this is the revolution. This is the time. This is the hour. Okay. Please like, share, subscribe. Tell somebody about me. Share my video with somebody. Men, before you think about having sex to my young men, I want you to get your body right. I want you to get your money right. I want you to get your material things that you want to get in life, okay? Because if you don't get those things, once you start having children, those things are too hard to obtain, all right? We can control and make the society we want to make if we're willing to stand up and fight and die for what's important. If you're willing to stand up and fight and die for the defense of your country, if you're willing to stand up and fight and die for your money, your clothes, your shoes, whatever those things are, then you damn sure should be willing to stand up and fight and die for your child. All right? So look here. I want to thank you for tuning in. My Cash App is $Gil Muse. Okay? And until the next show, it's been Dr. Sausage saying peace.